Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. Welcome. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So glad that you're here. If you're just tuning in and setting up, I will go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing today. I'll first talk about our props. So our props today, you will certainly need something soft. I'm sitting on my blanket. We will need a blanket, something soft underneath you. That could be a towel that's folded, a blanket, something soft, okay? So make sure you have that. We also like to use something stackable, like some yoga blocks or some hardbound books. Two or three should do just fine. I have the smaller version of the yoga blocks, but if you have the larger ones, those are great. So go ahead and grab those. And maybe a nice big cushion or pillow. This is optional. You don't have to have a big pillow. Sometimes this is very nice just to sit on, or when you are in Shavasana, something to maybe elevate your legs or bend your knees, something like that. So have that handy. So our practice today I'm calling simple inversions. Simple inversions, which means we're going to be going upside down, but in a very minimal and accessible way. So that's why we need all the props. So really just going upside down in yoga, well, in some classes that could mean like handstands or headstands. Now we're not going that far. All we're going to be really doing is elevating our legs, getting our feet above our hearts basically. And there's some basic ways that you can do that in a gentle yoga practice. So if you're a beginner of yoga, this is the perfect class for you. Alrighty, so we like to begin our soft flow practice in seated, so feel free to sit on your cushion or a nice soft blanket. You can cross your legs. This is comfortable for me. I like to cross my legs in half lotus. You can extend your legs. If you need more support for your back, for example, go ahead and sit up against a wall or bring in a chair and sit in a chair for this first portion of our class. We start with breathing. So once you've found your comfortable seat, make sure your torso is nice and long, sitting up tall here. You might start with a few deep breaths. You might breathe in deeply through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth. You can do that a couple of times if you'd like, just to tune into your breath, get reacquainted with your breathing, helping your body to settle in and arrive at this moment. You can do this with your eyes open. You can certainly do this with your eyes closed. Either one is perfect. And as you're settling in, you can just move to a more gentle, steady breath. But there's still an awareness of your breathing. So make sure you can feel your breath as it moves through your body. And perhaps you can even hear the sound of your breath. Make your way to stillness. Maybe sit as still as you possibly can. Very good. Just continue with your slow, steady breaths, sitting in stillness. This is our breathing meditation to begin our practice together. Just to bring in a little bit more awareness of your breath, you may want to inhale and just feel your breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. So this might be a deep breath in. Feel that nice expansion in the upper body. And with a slow exhale, draw your navel inward towards your spine as you're able, and just feel that connection here in your center, just a light contraction of your abdominal muscles. Again, you may inhale, sitting up a little taller in your seat, breath rising to fill up your lungs. Exhaling, draw belly in, connect. And just continue with that sensation and awareness. Very nice. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths like this on your own. And when we complete that last round of breath, we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready to move, Inhale and extend your arms out across the room, then all the way up into the air. Just move at your own pace. Inhale, finish the breath in. Then exhale, extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side. Completing that first round of breath in movement. Let's do that again. Inhale, reaching out and up. Full breath in, reaching high, nice stretch. Exhale, extend the arms out and then back down. And go ahead and continue on your own, breathing at your own pace, moving at your own pace. And as you're moving, just feel the good energy you're generating in your body. Effort in the arm extension, reaching out, energy shooting through your fingertips, imagining you can touch the walls on either side of you. And perhaps you're moving in slow motion, so that will allow you to pay attention to the sensations that arise in your body while you're in motion. So be aware of your shoulders, maybe the lengthening through the sides of your body as your arms reach up into the air. Energy in your hands and fingers. Nice long extension of your spine. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time with these. When you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side or let them rest in your lap. And just come back to stillness, awareness of your breath. We'll remain seated here as we take our mild back bend. So here you want to take your hands behind you, maybe just propped up onto your fingertips. That way the wrist stays long in the same alignment with the rest of your arm. And as the arms are reaching back, feel the shoulders also roll back. So there's a nice opening through your heart, opening through the chest, and even tip your chin up just a little bit, not too high so you don't strain your neck. Then when you inhale, just press your fingertips into the ground to feel energy in your arms. Feel the breath rising to fill up your lungs. And feel that expansion once again across your chest as you breathe in. As you exhale, draw navel inward towards your spine, perhaps adding a sensation as you're able, drawing your shoulder blades together, squeezing them back. Again, a nice inhale. Fill up your lungs, hands pressing into the ground, strong arms. Exhale, shoulder blades squeeze together behind you, belly draws in. You'll notice a change in energy in your body, perhaps generating more energy and effort in your body in this mild back bend. Heart opening. Go ahead and just take 2 more breaths. Notice the energy. And when we're done, soften the body. Lower your chin so you're looking forward. Walk your hands towards yourself to sit up nice and tall. Just bring your hands to your lap and notice that shift, that change from that energetic body to a more relaxed body. And take several deep breaths. Then we'll go ahead and take a forward fold. Here, if you happen to have your legs crossed, you can uncross your legs and then just reposition the legs and feet. So your feet, the soles of your feet are touching here. Here's where you can use your pillows or blocks or books for a prop underneath the bent knees on either side of you like that. That way they can just rest and relax right there. Hold on to your ankles or shins and just allow yourself to sit up as tall as can be. Inhale with that spinal extension. Exhale, draw belly in for support, hinging at the hips, leading with your heart and chin, just hinging for just a tiny bit, not far, just a little bit. Inhale, more extension of your spine at this angle. Exhale, draw belly in, again for support, moving slowly, hinging forward, leading with heart and chin. So we're leading ourselves toward a forward fold, and really you can stop at any point. For example, you can stop right here and just feel the extension of the spine, maybe a slight release and stretch quality in the inner thighs. You can go a little deeper if you'd like, and here's what you can do. Maybe just lower your chin a little, let the back round, and then go forward a little bit more. Remember, in our soft flow practice, we like to take things slowly and gently so you don't feel like you're straining your body at all. So maybe moving at about 60% rather than 100%. So that's the movement as well as moving into the posture. So this feels pretty good for me. I know I could go lower, but this feels just right knowing that I could hold this for a good amount of time. So just notice that within yourself too. Maybe take 3 more breaths. And since we're in this rounded back sensation, or if you happen to be in this rounded back sensation, maybe the last 2 breaths, you're breathing deeply into your back, your upper back if you can. Just as you fill up your lungs in the front side or your chest, when we do the back bend, can you expand your back? And then when we're done, just lift your chin a little bit to help re-extend your spine. Maybe using your hands on your mat to help press and lift yourself back up until you're tall in your seat. And once again, just return to stillness. Okay, take your time. There's no rush with any movement. I'm just going to move the blocks out of the way and just make your way onto hands and knees. Take your time. Here's where you might want to use some padding for your hands and knees. I'm just going to unfold my blanket so it's just a long rectangle. So I can place my knees here, my hands are at the top. So I'm in a tabletop position. We're moving into cat and cow. Of course, that's a flow of the body. So follow me. We'll inhale, lifting the head and heart just to look forward slightly, arching the back so you create a U shape or a bowl shape with the back. It's like a back bend. Exhale, then round it out, meaning your back rounds, belly button pulls up towards spine, chin tucks in towards chest. And these don't have to be very strong at all either. Mild movements, slow movements if you'd like. Again, just moving at the pace of your own breath. Just undulating through the spine. Your inhale to arch the back, creating that back bend into cow pose, that's cow. Your exhale when you round your back is cat pose. Feel free to add any other intuitive movements. I'll just demonstrate a few if you need some suggestions. That might mean just maybe circling your hips in circles or just side to side. Just getting into the rest of the body while we're here on our hands and knees. Listening to your body and just moving in an intuitive way, meaning you don't have to really think about what you're going to do next. Just allow the body to move in a more natural state. Your body will know what to do. Maybe it needs a little rest. You can even sit back into puppy pose or a child's pose here just to get off the hands. You can even add a twist. I'm just going to be propped up on my left hand while my right arm threads underneath to create a twist through the torso. So again, these are just some suggestions. You can do what you want to do. You can just continue with your cat and cow flow. But if you know your body is needing a little extra movement while we're here, go ahead and listen and respond appropriately. And then we'll take 3 more slow breaths in and out as a way to complete this little series. Take your time. And then just make your way back to stillness in this tabletop posture. Look directly down at the floor or just between your hands so your neck is nice and long. Take a breath in and out. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. Step your hands towards your knees as you're sitting back a little bit. Not too far so you don't put too much pressure on the toes, heels, ankles. Okay, just to back a bit. Maybe you're able to kind of rise up where you can take your hands off the floor and maybe a counter stretch. Can you see me? I'm just pressing the backs of my hands together just for a little counter stretch, or even onto your blanket. Just a little, not too hard, just a gentle press for a counter stretch for the wrists. Just giving your hands a bit of a break. You can even come up to fingertips. Something I really have never really demonstrated in this class is sometimes, we do a lot of postures like this where the palms are flat and there's a strain here in the wrist. If you need to, another thing you could do, especially with something soft underneath you, is make fists and just be on your fists. That's another way you can do that too. All right, let's go ahead and come off the blanket. Set that to the side. Come back to hands and knees, and I do suggest being on the hands here because we're going to move into downward facing dog. First, step your hands forward so your hands are out from underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers pretty wide to get that stretch in between each finger. Push into the ground to flatten your palms and stretch open the palms. That energy should also bring nice strength through your arms. Once again, tuck your toes under. Let's do cat and cow once again. First, cow. That's your inhale, arching the back. Exhale, round it out into cat pose. Hold cat pose for a second. Then lift your knees off the ground. Send your hips up into the air. And there's your downward facing dog. You may need to tiptoe forward slightly with the feet. Maybe adjust your hands if you need to. Just so you can settle into the pose for a breath or two. Feel the nice elongation of the spine. This actually can be considered an inverted pose. You are essentially upside down. Look at the space between your hands or look directly down and just walk forward with the feet. And maybe the feet just land in the center of your mat, but make sure your feet are flat on the ground. You'll be in a forward fold. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs, maybe to your knees or thighs, to extend your spine and hold here with the long flat back parallel to the ground like you're a table. Hold for a moment and just feel the energy in your legs, because I know I do. Nice long spine, flat as can be. When you inhale, just keep that elongation through the spine. And as you're able with your exhale, continue to pull your belly button up towards spine. It engages and supports you. Now we're going to stand, but first shift your weight back into your heels. Bend your knees, feel like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Look forward. Spread your wings, arms out to the side. Inhale, stand up all the way. Reach up into the air. Nice big stretch there at the top. Very good. Exhale, bring your arms all the way down by your side. And just hold there for a moment. Feel free to roll your shoulders. You can even shake out the hands, wiggle your fingers a little bit. I'm just going to adjust my mat while you're doing that too. Okay. Alrighty. Let's do a forward fold and come back up. This is our half salute to the sun. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Go at your own pace here. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees. Imagine you're sitting back into a low chair, folding forward. Now your back will be flat until it starts to round when you pass about halfway down. Let the back round, that's fine. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs. Return to that long flat back with the exhale, hold here. This is called half forward fold. Shifting your weight back into your heels, bend your knees, look forward, spread your wings out to the side. Inhale, reach up into the air. Another nice stretch, good. Exhale, return your arms down by your side. Perfect. Hold for a moment, just take a breath so you can reconnect to your breathing. We'll move in our variation of Warrior One, which we like to do. So again, a mountain pose. We like to start with the softness in the knees. So bend the knees and keep them bent like that. That'll keep the legs strong. Shifting your weight now into your right foot. Good pressure into the ground with your right foot. Even lean forward just a tiny bit. That'll give you a little bit of balance because you're going to start to step this left foot back. Just feel that natural stop back there because you don't have to go back too far. You're just kind of propped up onto your toes there. Pivot that left heel and just plant it into the floor and just sit right into this pocket, really centered here. Place your hands on your hips. Push your pelvis down with your hands as your upper body, tall torso, lengthened spine up here. And then turn to face mostly forward, out over your right knee. Then we'll inhale, extend the arms up into the air, straight as can be. With the exhale, just bend the elbows a little bit. So this is our variation of Warrior One, a lunge, but with not too much distance between the feet. Arms are extended, but we're going to keep the elbows pretty bent so the shoulders don't get too tired. Then we'll inhale, re-extend the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms down, but bring hands to hips again. Hinge forward so you feel the weight shift into your front foot. Pick up the left foot or the back foot and step it forward next to the other. Stand up nice and tall, straight legs, torso, then straight arms up into the sky. And exhale, arms down by your side. So that's our Warrior One variation, that little sequence. Let's do the other side. Again, start with the softness in the knees. Keep the knees bent. Feel the energy in the thighs. Shifting weight now into left foot. Press. Lean forward slightly. Start tiptoeing the right foot back. Feel the natural stop where you can't go back any further. Heel is lifted for the moment. And then turn that heel to the floor. The foot will turn out at an angle and then sit right in the center so you feel quite balanced. Hands on hips. Push pelvis down, long torso. You're also making space in your belt line so you can turn mostly forward out over left knee. Inhale, extend your arms straight up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows. There we are. Variation of our Warrior One position. And maybe you can hold this for a significant amount of time, and that is the intention. We're not going to, but just know that you could, that you don't feel like you're straining the body at all. And inhale, re-extend the arms straight up. Exhale, arms down, hands to hips. Lean forward, put pressure into the front foot. Pick up the back foot. Step it next to the other. Stand up tall. Inhale, reach into the air, extended mountain pose. Exhale, arms return to your side. Wonderful. All righty. Okay, let's go through our sun salutation. We're breaking things down. We will be moving to that second version of Warrior One. Do your best. We're going to inhale, extend your arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into your imaginary chair, folding carefully and slowly. You can fold all the way down with a good bend in the knees. Maybe your fingertips touch the ground, but they don't have to reach that low. Maybe they land at your shins or knees. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs to re-extend your spine, half forward fold. Now on this exhale, keep bending the knees a whole lot. Let the back round, getting low enough so you can place both hands on the ground in front of you and start walking or stepping both feet back to the back end of your mat until you're in a long straight line. Here, plank pose or a high push-up position. Breathe in. When you exhale, bend your knees slightly and then send your hips up into the air. Tiptoe forward slightly. Make those adjustments with the feet and your hands. Keep the knees pretty bent here, and maybe that will allow you to send the hips up a little higher. As the hips lift, press hands more firmly into the ground. Feel that energy. And once again, we're in down dog, a very classic pose, and it is an inverted posture. But our inversions today are going to get our legs in the air. And this is the first one. We're going to inhale, lift the right foot and extend the right leg back. It's enough to lift high. It's just up in the air, reach to the wall behind you is fine. Exhale, bend this right knee, bring it in underneath you, towards your chest or chin, shifting forwards, your upper body, shifting forward so your shoulders are now aligned over your wrist. And then just set your right foot down. It might be somewhere between that back foot and your front hand. Set the left knee down onto the floor. Reach back with your right hand and literally pick up your right foot and place it higher on your mat. Relift your left knee. Pivot left heel to the floor behind you. And then shift weight back into the foot so you have more pressure and energy in that back foot. Then extend your torso long out over your right thigh. Feel like you're going to lunge forward. Lift, hinge from the hips, rising up, arms out to the side, then up into the air. Reach up, inhale. Exhale, bend this front knee a little bit more, lunging a little deeper. Here's our second version of Warrior One. Feels different from the first time. We're not going to hold here long. Take a breath in. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. You're being Warrior Two. Reach out with the arms, parallel to the ground. And we're going to bend this front arm, your right arm, tip the body so you can bring your right arm, rest it very lightly on the right thigh while the left hand continues to reach straight up into the air. This is our variation or modification of side angle pose. And maybe you feel a nice lengthening through the left side of your body here. Very nice. Good hip opener here too. Okay, we'll take a breath in. We're going to exhale, carefully turn your torso so it's facing the floor. Fold and bend. Bring both hands down to the ground. Relift that back heel so all 10 toes are pointing forward. Press firmly into the ground with the hands up front so you can slide the right foot back to meet the other. plank pose. Hold for a breath in. Exhale, bend knees, lift hips into the air, downward facing dog. Make those adjustments, settle in, getting ready for another inversion, other side. Inhale, lift the left foot, extend the left leg straight back or up into the air. It doesn't have to lift high, just as long as the foot's off the ground. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin. Feel the whole body shift forward. Shoulders will align over the left wrist. Set the left foot down, and then your right knee down. Go get your left foot. Pick it up, place it a little higher. Replant the hand. Relift right knee. Turn to pivot right heel to the floor. Put some pressure in that back foot. You'll feel your body shift back, so you can put weight and pressure in that back foot. Then elongate your torso out over your left thigh. It'll be right on top of it. Inhale, hinge from hips, rising up. Take the arms out, then up into the air. That's the in-breath. Exhale, lunge. Okay. Feel the change here. Notice what's happening in the hips, especially that right leg. Inhale, here we go. Exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room. Bring arms to parallel, warrior two. You may not need to make too many adjustments with the feet because we already did those adjustments earlier. Then bend your left arm. Tip the body so you can bring this left arm, let it rest lightly on the left thigh, where your right arm energetically reaches into the air. And that is where the sensation, where the energy is going, is up, rather than maybe plummeting or dropping or sinking into this arm and shoulder and leg, okay? We want this energy to really rise. Breathe in, here we go. Exhale, turn your torso. You can see the floor, hinge, fold, hands onto the ground. Relift that back heel so you're on your toes. Pressure into the floor with the hands. Slide the left foot back, plank. Inhale, hold here. Exhale, hold. Then we'll set the both knees onto the ground. Tuck your toes under. Walk your hands back just to get pressure off the hands, but not too much pressure in the back end. So this is a variation of hero pose. So hopefully, again, not too much pressure. So hero, you could sit in hero. This is hero, sitting all the way down, okay? And this is certainly much more pressure in the knees and ankles. So I've been thinking of, what's another way we can do this? And maybe this is it. You get a little stretch for the toes there too. All right, now we're gonna go take a seat. So just sit off to the side, bring the legs around to the front. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. Now you're gonna need your blocks or whatever you're using as your stackable props there. I'm gonna adjust my mat. We're gonna move into our next inverted posture. We'll need the blocks. So go ahead and lie down. Lying down with your knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And just hold here for a moment so you can just rest a little bit, let your spine, your back, your shoulders just melt into the ground here. We'll be moving into bridge pose, or a supported bridge pose, using the support of our blocks or books or a firm pillow. When you're ready, inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in, and then peel or just lift your hips up into the air. Grab your blocks and then slide them underneath you. So you're actually just sitting on the blocks. That's the support. And then just make any adjustments with the feet, maybe even your upper body a little bit, so you feel comfortable here. So this is our modification or a variation of bridge pose, much more relaxed. You don't have to engage the body too much here. Hopefully this is a nice way of working this pose at 60% or even less. Okay, then here comes an inverted version of this posture. We're going to do one leg at a time. So let's keep the left foot on the mat. Adjust it if you need to as far as where you're going to place that foot for support. And then just pick up the right foot up off the floor and then extend the leg up into the air. Now the leg doesn't have to be straight at all. It may not even be reaching for the ceiling. Maybe it's kind of out towards the wall in front of you, but mostly just up in the air. And what you can do with the foot, just to keep the leg energized, is maybe flex the foot, pushing through the heel. You can even push through the balls of the foot, or even point your toes. or even all three, which is a nice little exercise for the foot, actually. Push through the heel, balls of the foot, point the toes. Just a little medley of movement, okay, as that leg is extended. And just one more breath in and out, just checking in to see if the leg feels tired at all. And we'll give it a rest. Bend the knees, set the foot back down onto the ground. And just hold for a moment so the body can realign and relax once again after being in a somewhat energetic, inverted posture. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and pick up the left foot and extend the leg in the air. Same thing, the knee can be very bent. You can straighten it out. You can do a variation of things. You can straighten it, bend it, straighten it, and then do that same little medley of movement through the foot. Push through the heel, push through the balls of the foot, point your toes. Notice that, all those feelings in the foot, how it changes. We don't pay too much attention to our feet. So this is a nice way to elevate the feet, give them some movement, and notice the sensations. Check in with any strain. If you're starting to feel a little tired and the leg is shaking, maybe it's time to end the pose, which is fine. Let's just take one more breath if your foot is still in the air. And when you're ready, bend the knees so you can set the foot back down onto the ground. Relax. Take a breath. Press both feet into the floor so you can lift your hips, remove the blocks. Come all the way down. Soften the body here. We're going to sit up. I'm going to give you two ways you can sit up. You can hug the knees into your chest, rock forward and back to rise up, or if that feels like it may be too much for your back, for example, I'll do a second version where you can just roll to one side if this works okay for you. Use your hands and just press yourself up and then just face forward. We're going to do a variation of our boat pose, which we like to do. So the heels will be out in front of you, knees bent here, like a little hill. Flex the feet to keep the legs energized. Hold on underneath the bent knees and use it as a way to sit up as tall as can be. Imagine you were sitting up against a wall. Okay? Inhale, get even taller. Exhale, engage your belly, and imagine you're in a reclining chair and you're leaning back. Make sure your spine stays straight and just lean back a little bit, not too far. Okay, you want to be able to hold this. If we go back too far, and if we were lifting the feet in another version of this pose, we can tire quickly. But I think the secret with really building a good, strong boat pose is starting here. Starting here and really allowing your core system to build that strength. And so when you do move into another version of this pose, maybe lifting the feet or even extending your legs, you'll find that you can hold it longer. This is a great place to start. A couple more breaths. All right, we're rising back up to lengthen the spine. And then again, maneuver yourself to return to hands and knees. Just going to go take our bodies through a nice flow here. Step your hands forward, hands out from underneath shoulders, spread out your fingers, strong arms and hands, tuck your toes underneath. With a good exhale, lift knees and hips into the air, downward facing dog. Now we're going to inhale, extend right leg into the sky, exhale, hold. Now let's see if we can just hold this posture just a little bit longer. Again, just kind of tapping into being upside down with at least one leg in the air. Inhale again. Exhale, bend the knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting your body weight forward. And maybe you can step the foot up near hand. Okay, or do what we did before. Place the foot down, the knee down, and step and pick up the foot. Pivot left heel to the floor behind you. Shift weight into that back foot. Extend torso out over right thigh. Inhale, hinge from hips. Rising up, reach up. Exhale, lunge. Hold for a second. Inhale again, just more extension through your arms. Exhale, open it to your warrior two. Bend this right elbow. Tip, rest arm lightly on the thigh. Inhale, left hand into the air. We're going to keep this moving. Exhale, turn, facing the floor. Carefully bend, hands on the mat. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Strong hands, slide right foot back, plank. Bend knees, hips into the air, downward facing dog, adjust your feet and hands. If you need to rest, please do so. Otherwise, we're moving straight away. Inhale, lift left foot, extend left leg back, hold on the exhale. Really reach, do what you did before when we were in our bridge pose. Push through the heel or the balls of the foot or pointed toes or all three. Just to feel the energy of the extended, lifted leg. We're going to move now. Inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting body weight forward, perhaps landing foot next to hand. Right heel turns to the floor, put pressure into that back foot. Extend torso out over left thigh. Inhale, rising up, hinging from hips, reaching into the air. Hold. Inhale, more extension through the arms. Exhale, open it to your warrior two. Side angle, bend the left arm, rest it lightly on left thigh. Inhale as you reach high in the sky with the right hand. We're still in motion. Exhale, we're carefully turning to face the floor. Bending carefully, plant the hands. Rise up on tiptoes behind you. Strong hands and arms. Slide left foot back, plank. Hold. Get longer and stronger. Then set the knees down. Variation of our hero pose, or go to full hero if that feels okay. Tuck your toes under, step the hands back so you can get the hands off the ground. Maybe that counter stretch for the wrists. Alrighty, we're going to move into a little bit more of a dynamic pose. This is completely optional for you today, okay? Now, the variation for this particular posture is just downward facing dog. Let me show you quickly. Is downward facing dog with the leg up, okay? That's the variation. But we're going to attempt this, if you can and want to try, with not being on your hands, but being on your elbows. Okay, so this is why you might want to have something soft underneath you at your arm. So follow me, or just come into down dog, or you can just watch. So I'm basically on all fours. I have my elbows on the floor, knees on the floor, tuck toes. I'm pushing into the ground with the forearms. Push. Let's just hold that and just feel that energy for a moment. Energy in your upper back, your shoulders, your arms are perhaps at 90 degrees. Spread out your fingers. Inhale again. Exhale, engage your belly, even round your back a little bit, and as best as you can, just lift your knees slightly off the floor. You're going to inhale, pick up the right foot and extend the leg back. We're not going to hold here long. That's the in. Exhale, one more breath if you can, just a half breath. Inhale. Exhale, bring the foot back down, bring the knees down. If you need to rest here, perfect. Okay, that's all we're doing. We're just doing a variation of an inverted posture. Now, if we were going to do the full pose, there is a balancing posture where you're balancing on your forearms and both legs are up into the air. And this is a nice prep to get there. However, of course, we're not doing that today. All right, getting ready for the other side. Root your arms, forearms, and elbows into your blanket so you feel the energy in your shoulders, chest, and back. Breathe in, fill up your lungs. Exhale. Lift knees, not too high. Pick up the left foot and extend it. Reach, hold for a breath and a half. We're ready to move here. Inhale. Exhale, bring the toes down, bring the knees down. Let's go to child's pose. So you can take the knees wide, a little wider there. Maybe come to the tops of the feet here if that feels okay, and then start to sit back. You don't have to sit back all the way, just to a comfortable place. You can stay on your elbows here, or extend your arms where the elbows have lifted. Your forehead can come to the floor. I usually like to bring in a block, and this feels very comfortable here. So this feels good for me. My hips are not touching my heels. That way there's less tension in my knees. My elbows are on the floor, so my upper back and body feel relaxed. My head is resting on a block. So the pose we're attempting is called peacock feather pose, okay, or a forearm balancing posture. Again, that's balancing on your arms while both legs are up into the air. So that was just a prep, just really getting the body set up for that particular inverted posture. All right, let's take 3 more breaths in our resting pose. Come back up to hands and knees. Let's move our props out of the way here. All right, so that was kind of the highlight of our practice, kind of the dynamic of our practice today. And now we're going to start to bring things down. We are going to do it a couple more inversions, but more supported. So go ahead and take a seat in the center of your mat again. You can have your blanket nearby, but you certainly want your blocks again, okay? Go ahead and lie down. Knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Rest, melt. Take some deep breaths. We're going to move again into our bridge pose, using the blocks for support. The first time we extended one leg. This time we're going to extend both legs. When you're ready, inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage the belly, giving you energy to lift your hips into the air just briefly so you can slide your blocks underneath you and then take your seat on your blocks. And then make some adjustments with your body so you can just settle in. And a few more breaths here. So our next inversion, we are taking both legs up into the sky. Now, if you don't have very firm blocks or books to sit on, you can certainly do this just lying flat on your back, okay, on the ground. You can still do this. So whenever you're ready, extend one leg. I'm just going to extend my right leg. You can do the same. Extending right leg into the air when you feel pretty good there. Go ahead and pick up the left foot and extend that leg in the air. Now, if you can, just keep them in the air on their own. But if you need a little extra support, maybe you bend your elbows. Okay, my elbows are still touching the ground. My arms are just at 90 degrees. So I can take my hands up to my hips, perhaps, and I can actually support my body, my legs, just by holding onto my hips with my hands, okay? You can do the same thing with the feet. Maybe keep the feet flexed or just soft. Soft feet work just fine. Or go through that medley of movement where you flex the feet through the balls of the feet, pointed toes. You can even add, I like to add, circles, circling through the ankles, see if you can wiggle your toes. If you need to rest, here's what you can do, and this is what I would suggest. If you feel like you need to rest, whether it's for your legs or your back, just pause. Bring the feet back down. Take a couple breaths here, because you're going to return. I'm going to have you return to the pose. Just take a little resting moment. And then take both legs back up into the sky. If you need to do that a third time, that's fine. So just working with the body in this upside down position. Now another way we can do this, certainly you can do this without the blocks and just have the back flat on the ground, legs extended. Now you could do this with your legs against the wall, and there is a pose called legs against the wall. Now I'm not going to demonstrate that, but if you've got space somewhere in your home or studio, wherever you happen to be, where you can extend your legs up into the air, this is a great way to support your body in an inverted position. All right, 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, you can bend the knees, plant the feet into the ground, pressure into the floor so you can lift your hips to remove your blocks if you still have them underneath you, and then come down to the ground. Go ahead and extend the body, extending the legs out front. Reach your arms behind you, just to lengthen and stretch things out, providing some space all up and down the spine, your low back. And then hug both knees into chest. Let's take a variation of happy baby pose. All I like to do is here actually just flex the feet. I'm still holding onto the knees or shins. Take the legs wide. And that's it. I'm just holding onto the knees and just getting that inner thigh release and stretch. So this is a variation of happy baby pose. Now if you can and want to move into happy baby because it is comfortable for you, feel free. And that of course is holding onto the soles of the feet. And the feet are facing the ceiling like this. You can even add a little movement, a little rocking sensation. We're going to add another hip opener here in a moment. And that's going to bring the soles of the feet together so they touch like you did in the seated version of this. And then set the feet onto the floor. Now if your blocks are still handy, you can still place those blocks underneath the bent knees because the knees don't have to touch the ground here. But they can rest on something like these blocks or books or even pillows. That way the legs can feel relaxed and you don't feel like the inner thighs are getting overly stretched. This is very comfortable. So we'll hold here for a few moments. And if you're still doing happy baby pose or some other hip opener, please do what feels really good for you at this moment. We're going to do one more leg extension just to get a final hamstring stretch. One leg at a time, this time without the elevation. But first maybe take 3 or 5 more breaths. I'm finding that this pose feels quite comfortable. We're going to fire up the body one more time and then we'll start to move into final relaxation. All right, from here, if you're in reclining cobbler's pose, lift the knees, bring the knees together, plant the feet into the ground, and keep the blocks where they are. Extend your left leg straight out onto the ground. Hug right knee into chest, catch it in your hands. Extend the leg up into the air. Now you might want to hold the leg in your hands. For a little extra hamstring stretch, I like to flex the foot. Inhale as I'm really feeling the heel move towards ceiling. Exhale, just gently drawing the leg in closer towards my upper body, or feeling like my toes are going over my head towards the wall behind. Now this is pretty energetic. We are firing up the body once again, but we're not going to hold it very long. Maybe just one more breath. The exhale so you can release it. Bend the knee, set the foot down, and extend the leg. And just hold here in this preview to Shavasana, because we're not quite there yet. So a nice complete release here. That feels good. And then we'll do the other side. You can hug the left knee in when you're ready. Catch it in your hands. Extend the left leg into the air. Hold on to it in your hands. A few breaths. So the flexing the foot, heel reaching for the ceiling or somewhere out in front of you. Exhaling, drawing the leg in closer towards upper body. Toes feel like they're going right over your head. One more breath. And release. Bend the knee, plant the foot, extend the leg. Another brief Shavasana. Melt and relax. Everything realigns here, which is nice. Okay, before we finish, let's get into a twist. Let's bring both knees into chest again. Hold for a moment. And then take both knees over to the left side. Now I still have my block over there, so I'm going to let my left knee kind of rest on that block. I'm going to go grab the other block, place it between my knees here. And that way I don't feel like I'm over-rotating. And it feels just right on my spine and low back area. So as the knees go to the left, you can just reach your right arm off to the right side. Now you may not need the props, but again, just very nice to use. If you don't have the blocks handy. Maybe it's a blanket or a rolled up towel or your pillow. Let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths on this side. Take your time to return to center. You might even hug both knees into chest as a way to realign the body. Maybe another circle of the feet and ankles. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and take the knees over to the other side. Give them support. So knees to the right. Left arm extends to the left. Settle in. This restful twist that doesn't feel too strenuous, especially in that low back area or in your hips. Feeling as if you can just relax completely here for a long time. You can even take a moment and just think about the entire practice. So we just had some very simple inversions, getting one leg and then eventually 2 legs up into the air. And hopefully throughout the practice you were able to maintain the sense of calm and ease, working at 60% or less perhaps throughout your practice, providing your body with that opportunity to soften things up. Okay, take one more breath in and out. Come back to center, maybe hug the knees in. As you're hugging the knees in, just take a moment and think about what you would like to do for your final resting position for meditation. It could be Shavasana, where you extend both legs out on the floor, arms down by your side. Or if you've got some nice props you'd like to take advantage of, use them. Use your blanket for some softness underneath your body. I'm going to go ahead and use my bolster to place underneath bent knees. I think I'll use my blanket for my head. So just get everything in the right spot. Situate your body so it feels quite comfortable. And then take a few breaths just to allow your body to really settle in. And just as we did in seated at the very top of the class, I invited you to sit as still as you can. So once you found your comfortable position here in your Shavasana or other restorative pose, do the same thing. Find complete stillness. Feel free to keep your eyes opened. Feel free to close your eyes. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like, especially if you found a very comfortable position. Let your mind and body completely release and relax. complete stillness until it's time to complete your personal practice. When it is time to move, start with breath. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Using this as a pathway to movement. Breathing as a pathway to movement. And slowly start to feel movement return to your body. No rush. Even if you're still in complete stillness, that's fine too. Stay in that restful state of mind and body as long as you need. And again, when it's time to move, take it gently, slowly, gradually. And breath providing that energy within you. When you feel like you can move your entire body, take it slowly, very slowly, and roll onto either side of your body, perhaps into a nurturing pose, even staying there for a few breaths. Continuing your movement very slowly. Rise to seated, maybe finding a pillow or a blanket to sit on. You're welcome to sit with your legs crossed or extended or up against a wall or a chair. Extended spine, relax shoulders, give them a little circle. Let your arms go heavy, hands resting in your lap. Take a breath. And we'll add one more movement to end our practice together. Inhale, extend your arms into the air, reaching all the way up. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Return to stillness. Find your breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.